Hi, I'm N7 Strider and welcome to my Batman Eternal issue 9 review. Now, before we get into things, just first of all, have a look at that cover, because that cover made me very happy, because this is featuring, as you can see, right, where is it? Right there. No, I've gone to the other side, haven't I? Right there, Jiro, the Batman of Japan, which is a creation, I believe a creation by Grant Morrison, for Batman Incorporated, which I believe was running at the beginning of the New 52, although I can't say for certain if that's absolutely true or not. So yeah, the cover straight away made me very happy, although I did think it was a little strange, because he is the Batman of Japan, of Batman Incorporated, that this story takes place in Hong Kong, China. Also, the last appearance by Jiro in DC Comics wasn't exactly all that good. In fact, it featured him fighting essentially the Power Rangers, while they made jokes about his tiny girlfriend, who is at the bottom there, whose name is, if I can remember, Canaria, I think, or Canary to the English-speaking audience. So, yeah, I did think over the course of it, but this is just a personal opinion as a Grant Morrison fan, that Jiro was a little underused in this issue, but it doesn't affect the issue any. It's still a good, strong story, and the change from Gotham to China, Hong Kong, is actually very welcome, and it does change things up, and it allows for colour to be used in some interesting ways. There's just also like just a few little subtle references in there as well that I managed to really appreciate. Although sometimes the sense of scale with Canaria, who's right there at the bottom, I don't know if you can quite make that out, but Canaria there, sometimes the sense of scale with just how big or tiny she actually is. She's only like big, she's tiny. Honestly, there were jokes made about I hear she's like the TARDIS, bigger on the inside. So that was previous, not in this issue. But yeah, there is some scale issues with the art, with just trying to depict how big she actually is. And like in one panel she's like big, in another panel it makes her look like human woman sized. I don't know much about Canaria or Jiro besides what I've read myself, which is one issue, so I can't really tell you much about them, and the Wikia is strangely empty and lacking information about these two characters if you wish to look them up yourselves, but you can find them in issue 9 of Batman Incorporated. If you wish to know more, but I wouldn't recommend that issue. It's really quite poor, unless you like the Power Rangers and just a light-hearted romp set in China instead of set in Japan instead of the China of this issue. I mean, it's just nitpicking on my part that Batman of Japan is in China. I mean, I'm sure his jurisdiction stretches from Japan to China as well. It's the same regional area, so I'm not going to hold it against the issue that much. One thing I will say about this issue though is that the artist, whose name I have promptly forgotten but looked it up a second ago, Gilliam March, the artist is phenomenal. Not just the art within the panels themselves, but the panels themselves have a really good sense of flow, which gives the pacing to the issue just a really clean flow through it. You're not ever holding up, like trying to figure out where the panels go. This guy just gets it down. It makes it just a smooth read, and you just know what's happening from panel to panel, and it's just a joy to read. As I said, the change of location is very welcome, and it does mix things up with what's been going on in the previous issues. Just the change of locale, change of characters for Batman to interact with, it's really welcome, and it gives the story just that little bit more, for my enjoyment, the fact that it was featuring a character from Batman Incorporated, which is Grant Morrison. Anyone who knows me will know that I love Grant Morrison a lot. He's my favourite writer. I think, ever in comics. But Scott Snyder is slowly just like replacing him because he really gets Batman, and I also like Jeff Johns as well, of just writers who are producing for DC at the moment. I don't think Grant Morrison is at the moment. I don't know. I'll have to try and look him up and see what he's working on at the moment. So yeah, the art's fantastic, and as I was saying, just the flow of the comic with the arrangement of the panels. He does some innovative things with the panels. Not exactly innovative, but he just gets just how they should look on page. It's just like, and it just goes straight through the comic. It's a real pleasure to read this one. It really is, considering it's featuring characters that not many people will know about. It also at the end of the comic, which I won't spoil right now, but at the end of the comic, it reintroduces a character that has been in the comic before. A lot of people who I've spoke to about this issue, they just said, "Oh, it's a new character, which is tied to a long-serving Batman character that I won't say who." But they just say they were saying, "Oh, it's a new character." Just no. If you go back a long time, this character has existed before with a different surname, but it still is the same character that existed all those years ago. So that's everything from my review. I'm going to go down into spoilers right now, where I'm going to just discuss the story. So if you don't want to know the story details, click away now. So our story opens in Gotham to start off with Acting Commissioner Forbes leaving work for the night, just exiting the GCPD, and he's being wished by some of the officers having have a good night, sir, before they probably got arseholed just as soon as he's got his back turned. Now he does get into a cab to go home, and part of me thought, why didn't he notice this? Because he gets into a frigging super cab. Did he not notice that it had a big rocket booster attached to the back of it? Just like that was just something a bit weird. It's being driven by Roadrunner, who we saw get blown up like 2 issues ago, but apparently he survived. We just don't know how. So maybe this Roadrunner's like pretty quick. Maybe he just got out of the way. So I did think he was dead, but it didn't really affect my opinion of this issue because it was such a strong issue anyway. So and he takes him to Carmine Falcone. It's just like, he's protesting, and he's like, he gets locked into the taxi at one point, and Forbes is just like, I am the police work for me, and Roadrunner replies, yes, but you work for Falcone. Falcone is extremely upset with Forbes. He's just like, look, like last night I got hit for, I think it's $345,000, and I'm like holding you responsible because like it's down to the costume freaks. Forbes is a bit confused by this because it's like at the moment Batman seems to be lying low. There hasn't been a sighting of him, and Falcone says yes, but this wasn't Batman, this was Catwoman, and me and her have and he's holding the scars as he says this, we have a history. I don't think it actually says what the history is, just like he's had to live with the scars or something. I don't think it really mentions what it is. This only lasts for a couple of pages, and then the story switches over to Hong Kong. And Batman is fighting ninjas with flaming samurai swords, just like straight off the bat. It's just you're treated to a full page of that. It's just like seeing Batman fighting these ninjas with with flaming swords. So just like he's fighting them off, and Jiro, Batman of Japan, turns up to help him out. And just between the two of them, this is like 2 Batmans. Jiro also doesn't know who Batman's real identity is. He just thinks he's also under the employ of Batman Incorporated, which is owned by Bruce Wayne. Just thought I'd get that out there now. So Batman and I'm going to keep calling him Jiro instead of Batman and Japan. So Batman and Jiro, because Batman also does call him Jiro throughout the entire issue as well. So they just dispatch the ninjas easily, and they discuss that these are a gang called the Ghost Dragons, which are led by Shen Fang. We briefly cut away to the mystery woman that was seen at the end of the last issue, and she states as she's watching this fight happen, she's still at the building, but she says, "Stay out of my way." She also says bollocks, which I thought was very telling, because the only characters in DC Universe that say bollocks are British. We go to Jiro's Batcave, which is actually a penthouse. In the next scene, they've flown over to Jiro's Batcave in China. He does make a nice little reference saying Bruce Wayne is a very generous benefactor, and this is what we've got here. You know, it's just like he's set us up with this. We also meet Jiro's version of Alfred, which is a guy called Master Hong. He's like he's typically stereotyped like old Asian dude, and he's just like, he's got the big bushy eyebrows, bald head, and I think he's got a bit of a beard going on. And he reads tea leaves, and he does say at this point, and it did make me cringe just a little bit, because he reads tea leaves and he's looking at the tea leaves and he says there is a darkness that has not yet revealed itself. I was like, please don't be Joker, please don't be Joker, please don't be Joker. But we also meet Jiro's version of Robin, which is the previously mentioned Canaria, or Canary if you're English speaking, and it's here that Jiro and Batman discuss what happened with the war between Falcone, because this is where Falcone has spent his time previously before returning to Gotham, the war between Falcone and the Ghost Dragons. And it's just like, Jiro says like it was 5 years of bloody fighting. Just there was no side ever going to win, and it did look like Falcone was eventually going to lose. It's just like but then just one day, just like it ended, and Falcone returned to Gotham, and we've no idea why, but it gave Shen Fang and the Ghost Dragons, it gave them monopoly on the crime in China. So they decide to hit Shen Fang's compound to get Shen Fang to talk, because he obviously knows, he seems to have defeated Falcone. So it's just like he knows why he returned to America. Besides retreating, it's like he somehow beat him, and they need to know how he beat Falcone. So it's just like, we're gonna go interrogate him. So they take the fight to his stronghold. It's at this point where you don't really see much of Jiro, but you do see Batman just like kicking a bit of ass. Like, Jiro's there, but he doesn't really get too involved, which was just a little bit disappointing for me. But if you're not a fan of Jiro, or Batman Incorporated in general, you won't really mind. This is still like a strong comic. So it's at this point that the Mystery Woman makes herself known, and she's just like, she's standing before Batman before he can get to Shen Fang. Batman actually thinks she's Shen Fang's bodyguard, and she just says like, no, I'm here to take him down, and this is my mission, not yours. You're going to step down. Batman tries to reason with her and just like, we're fighting for the same cause, then just why are we doing this? We should go in there together. Before they can resolve and work through the differences, she gets run through by Shen Fang, who's got like his samurai sword out, and just like literally just runs her through. While she's bleeding to death on the floor, Batman lays into Shen Fang and just like beats the hell out of him. And he's just like, you're gonna talk and you're gonna tell me, how did you defeat Falcone in your war? And Shen Fang said like, look, I never actually beat him, I bought him out. So he obviously just like gave him a crap ton of money, and that's when he decided like, look, I've got this money now, I can get a foothold back in Gotham, because he's got funding behind him, which is like what he really needed at that point. It's just like, a butt ton of money, he's going back to Gotham and he's going to take it for himself. So Shen Fang spills the beans. It's at this point that Jiro points out that some of the thugs are running away, and Batman should let them go, because now Shen Fang is dishonoured and no one will work with him, so he's effectively beaten in Hong Kong. So it also just ties up that nice little story thread nicely, just like, well, these guys who were kind of cool, the Ghost Dragons, they're gone now, because they had two Batmans to deal with in one night. So it just rounds things off nicely, that that story arc it opens up with this issue, and it also closes with this issue, but it does fit into the grand scheme of things quite nicely. One thing I forgot to mention actually, which I'm going to actually show for you, back when they were in their own in Jiro's Batcave, anyone who knows the layout of Batman, American Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman, will know the layout of his Batcave. And there's the big coin right there, and instead of the dinosaur, he's got a fucking Godzilla just in his Batcave. So that was kind of nice. It's at this point that Batman turns his attention to the mystery woman who is bleeding out on the floor, and the scene cuts back to Gotham City. Catwoman is breaking into Falcone's vault. She seems intent on just like stealing his money to really hamper his effort on the on the war that he's waging in Gotham, taking control. Although at the moment he seems to be in control, there's really no one opposing him besides Batman. So Catwoman, of course, she's going to steal his money and take the money for herself, but she is also aiding the people of the Gotham Underground, so she's also got that like little bit of a hero streak in her that I'm appreciating at the moment. She encounters Bean Counter as she enters the vault, and she gets the code from him and then promptly knocks him out by slamming his head against the table, which I just thought was a little bit badass. She heads over to the vault, and she just easily just gets the vault open, cracks it open, and as she opens it, she's hit by a taser. Falcone and a few of his men were in there waiting. They knew she was going to hit this place next. As Falcone grabs her, he's like, literally says like, "You've made me live with these scars for a long time. I'm going to make you, I'm going to scar you, but you're not going to live with yours." I just thought that is such a good thing, and I thought that's where this episode ended until we cut back to Batman, who's returning to Gotham in the Batwing, and he has the mystery woman in the back of the in the spare seat of the Batplane, or Batjet, whatever you want to call it, Batwing. So she's in the spare seat, and he's just like, he's speaking to Alfred, and he says like, "Look, I need you to prep the medical room, because I have a person with me. I've ran her fingerprints and DNA through numerous databases, and nothing came up. I dug deeper and found out that she works for the SRR, which stands for," I knew I was going to forget this, and I made a note of Special Reconnaissance Regiment. And this woman is Julia Pennyworth, Alfred's daughter. So it's just like, I am very pleased that it tied in just with the larger Bat family, that this new character's been introduced. I do have this sneaking suspicion that she's going to take over as Batgirl, and the current Batgirl may end up paralysed again at the end of this story arc. That has been one thing that a lot of Batman fans have been slightly angry about. But myself, I did understand that this was reset to a time, earlier. This new universe was earlier than the previous existing universes, so Batgirl still had the use of her legs. It was no big deal for me. I don't understand why so many people were up in arms. If I can understand this, and I'm not like a big comic book guy, sorry, my voice is really going. I'm not a big comic book guy, but if I can understand that this universe is earlier along in people's careers, then why can't people who are more, invested in comics understand that as well? I mean, if you look back at Justice League, back when they started, metahumans hadn't been on the scene much. They'd literally just come out, just revealed themselves to the world. So it's just like they're still not trusted yet. So if I can understand that, why can't no one else? So that's been pretty much it. As I said, this issue has been very, very strong, and I did enjoy reading it. It was very different to what we've been getting so far in Batman Eternal. It's been definitely one of the stronger issues, but this entire series has been so strong, and I'm just hoping that this strength can just keep up all the way through, because we're only on issue 9. There's 43 issues left to go, and I'm running out of things to do with the thumbnail that I attached to these. So I don't know, maybe you'll get for the 52nd issue just like me naked with the issue conveniently placed over my groin. So besides from that disturbing image, I've been N7 Strider and I should go.